Okay, hello there. We're going to show a tutorial on how to use IWARS to do some indirect fire engagements. And the goal is that we're going to try to use it to implement a indirect fire system, such as a piece of artillery, MLRS, or a howitzer. But we're going to start with something basic, so this is the first part in the tutorial. And what we're going to do in this scenario is try to set it up so that an observer can call for M203 fire. So this is sort of the squad indirect weapon system. And then once we go from there, our strategy will be just to change the weapon system to open up the range, and then I think we'll have what we need. So I have the chore-worn 8x8 tile map up here, new scenario. And I'm going to go ahead and make myself a couple of default units. So I go to create agent, human agent, default. And I've got my first one here. I'm going to make this the observer. And then I'm going to go ahead and make another one. And I'm going to make this one the MLRS. We'll say MLRS gun or system launcher. There we go. So now I have an MLRS launcher and an ML observer. So my observer, I'm going to put them here, and then my launcher, I'm going to put behind the building. And now we need something to shoot at. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up something up by this bush here. So I go up to waypoints, I hit add a waypoint, here's my waypoint, and zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to have to get this just precisely. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to blow this bush up. So now I have a waypoint. I'm going to go ahead and call this TRP, which is Target Reference Point 101. So I have an MLRS launcher, an observer, and here I have a TRP. Now it's important to note the MLRS launcher, we're using a human to simulate that, a human model. But don't get too tied up in the visual aspects of it. This human model can easily be a launcher if we just had substituted the 3D model from a person to a MLRS launcher. Okay, so now what we need to do is go ahead and make some missions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, well, correction. First we're going to check our loadouts of weapon systems. So the MLRS launcher, what I'm going to do is give them instead of the M4, I'm going to give the MLRS launcher the 203. So they've got the M203, and then the selected weapon is M203. Now I've got to give them some ammo. So we're going to give them some M433, which is your HEDP. I'm going to give them 100 rounds of ammunition. So once again, this M203 is selected. M203 is carried with 100 rounds of HEDP. My observer doesn't really matter. Their default is M4. I'm going to leave them at M4. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up the mission builder. So I have my mission builder here. I'm going to have two different missions. The first mission I'm going to work with, we're just going to call it the observers. Observe fire. No, we're going to call this call for fire. So there's my call for fire mission. And in this mission, I'm going to go ahead and add a start node. And I'm going to call this start node. We'll leave it at start node for now. The activity group, I'm going to call this call for fire. Call for fire activity. And then I need to add the call for fire skill. So under communicate, let's see here, movement shoot, call for fire. So under the shoot, there's a call for fire skill that's listed under the shoot. So under shoot, I grab the call for fire, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that here. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab an end node and drop the end node here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and connect these together. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and clean this up. One of the things we need to do is we need to select the activity, and we need to tell it when to begin. This is a function of IWARS, otherwise I'll never pick this up. So every activity group, or in every scenario, one of the activity groups has to have a start. So I go under start and on enter. That means on the enter, when the simulation starts, this will take place. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to call for fire. And it asks me, it's got some things here, messages send, call for fire request, latency. I'm going to go ahead and build a little bit of latency in here, say 10 seconds. That'll allow us time to watch it happen. Probability of transmission is 100%. And the selected point, I'm going to change this to select point target, and in here I'm going to select my TRP. So what this does is when it starts, it's going to wait about 10 seconds, and then he's going to call for fire, whoever's got this mission, and they're going to tell someone to fire at TRP 101. Okay, so I have that in place. I'm going to go ahead and go up here to call for my fire mission, and I need to assign this mission to the observer. Okay, so now we're going to make another mission. So I select missions, I hit add. I'm going to go ahead and put MLRS fire mission. This is going to be assigned to the launcher. And I'm going to go ahead and add a start node. And I'm going to add an end node. An activity group, I'm going to go ahead and start on enter. And now I need to add a shoot activity. So this is under just a straight skills. I'm going to go ahead and add the shoot command. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Okay, we'll just do it this way. And we have our shoot. So under the shoot, I'm going to select that. So I selected shoot here. And you'll notice under shoot, it says target selection type. I'm going to change this to waypoint target. And my selected waypoint is going to be TRP 101. And I'm going to hit ignore safe distance. I don't care about that. I'm going to allow that, and I'm not going to require line of sight. So the last piece we need to do is we're not going to shoot this target until we get the clearance to do so. So under my condition name, so I've selected this arc here between start and shoot. I've selected the arc, and the condition, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to double click that arc, and it's going to bring up my editor. So it's going to show up like this. What you need to do is go to data. And then you look for message, select message here, go up and grab call for fire request, and you see call for fire request is received. You double click that, hit OK. And then with this mission we're going to assign it to the MLRS launcher, and we should be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and save the mission. Save it as RD2. Alright, so now I have my mission, so I'm ready to go ahead and try my run here. So I'm going to go ahead and play the scenario. Switch over to 3D view. So there's my observer, and there's my fire, and here's the bush, and there he is. So there was a call for fire exchange there, and this person fired at the bush as we asked for. Notice that he can't really see the bush from his location. So it's done completely off of the call for fire. So that's all there is to simple call for fire. Now there's a couple of things that are naive about this. The biggest one is in the mission builder itself. So here the MLRS had to know kind of what he was shooting at. So in the shooting activity, he had TRP 101. So there's probably going to be the case in your simulation when you don't know that in advance, in which case you're going to have to do some more sophisticated message passing in order to kind of get that to work dynamically. And we'll talk about that in a further tutorial.